Alright, cool. So let's go. So again, following on from our session, our podcast on 2017 and New Year, New Me, New Year, Next Me. Let's bust open some more of them myths. Again, the ones that kind of, when we've covered the underdog and what's trying to hold people back. And I'm like, so I was thinking interestingly about it, because a lot of people, I think, always get to a point in time and they're like, I know I want to make a change. Oh, but it's too late. I'm not 18 anymore. I'm not 21. I'm not 25. I'm not 30. Or I'm not 29 for me, like I was last year. But I think that they create a false limitation for themselves. They're like, well, it's too late. If I wanted to do it, I should have done it back then. And I'm like, for me, you have to have a sense of urgency, but you also have to have the view that you've got a hell of a lot of time left. Yeah. Like, I'm expecting to have double what I've done, God willing, at least, to go through. So I'm like, well, at 30, yeah, I could have started 9 years ago. I would have been ahead further. But still, I'm good to start now at 40. Like, you got Colonel Sanders, KFC in his 60s. Like,
the guy that created Airbnb did it in their late 20s, in their early 30s. So all these companies, all these people that we think is too late. Like, there's a book I read and it said that a lot of people, there are people that are early beginners and early adopters and they do it when they're young, and people that are late adopters and they do it when they're older. Like Warren Buffett, he became successful later on in life, and then now he's like the richest man in the world. So there's never like there's never a time when you can't do something. Okay, there is, depending on the field you're in. So if you're a footballer, you start football at 30, it might limit you because most people limit footballers.
Alright, you don't get Ian Wright stories anymore. You've got to be realistic in the shelf life of what you're doing. But I don't think that that's usually, so if it's a sport, nowadays you kind of know, if it wasn't ingrained in you from time you were a child, and you've got to like 16, 17, you haven't been picked up, then you should be looking for an alternative passage in life, right? And that's cool, and I'm good with that. But even then, it doesn't stop you from getting into it. You might say, well, I can't be a football player anymore, but I can be a coach. And there's nothing that stops you saying, you know what, I want to be a coach. So this year, coming up, 2017, New Year, New Me, I'm going to go out and start my coaching badges so that in 2018, 2019, I can get into doing work in the profession I love, even if I can't be a football player like I was before.
Yeah.
But I think in most instances, people are like, well, I'm not really happy with the way my life's going, or the job that I'm in, or the career that I've got.
I think sometimes though, when you get older, things can become a little bit more difficult, because when you're young, you're sort of young, free, and you've not really got the baggage that comes with it all. But when you get older, you may have family, you may have all of these different things that can then put doubts in your mind whether you can.
But you've got experience to counter that. You've got experience though.
Yeah. So
when you're young, you do have less barriers holding you back. You might not have family settled down. To be honest, I'm actually indifferent. I'm like, when I was young to when I'm now, I haven't inherited any more baggage or any less baggage. But you've got that experience. You've gone through ups and downs. So you could argue, yes, actually, they're getting started earlier. But when I look back at it, I've got an extra 9, 10 years, 20 years, however old you are, experience. Therefore, I'm still good to go. I can start whenever I want to. And you could be 30, you could be 40, you could be 50. Like,
could you argue though? Sorry, just to cut you there. Could you argue that, you see, when you're younger, you just sort of got that mentality that, you know, the world's your oyster and you can achieve and and then when you get older, maybe some of your life experiences could be what then holds you back in the future.
It's re-engineering of your thought process.
That's it.
Just recreating the process, the way your mind works.
Yeah.
Looking at having self-awareness and then looking at saying, okay, well, I'm going to stop limiting myself by my thought processes and actually go out there and do it. I say also, when you're older, what people realise is that when you're younger, you can get somewhere faster. So just because you're older doesn't mean, because you've got the security in the bag, you've got the baggage behind you, like you go to the house or kids and stuff, that may mean that you get a bit slower, but you still get there if you actually get going. Younger people, they might have the baggage and stuff, but they haven't got the experience that you have. So it might take them a little bit longer to get that experience, but they might get to their destination a little bit faster because they haven't got the baggage. But if you have the baggage, it doesn't mean you have to do it. It just means that it may be a little bit slow. You might have to make sacrifices where someone that doesn't have those baggages or doesn't have those things. Also, but counter that, when you're younger, everybody wants to go out partying. when you're older, there's no expectation for you to do that. You should actually have more free time to do what you need to do.
Yeah, but I think that ultimately comes down to how you want to lay out your whole life anyway. Like, I know, to be honest, I know 30-year-olds who party like they were 18 still. So I don't really think. But then you need to have an active choice. Am I going to go out on a Saturday and when I finish work on a Friday, am I going to party all the way through till Monday morning, turn up, rock up at work, I'm groggy because I spent the whole weekend going out, or am I going to spend my weekend being productive and working on something? And it's always for some people it's just ingrained in. So as they're growing up from 15, 16, 17, 18, they've got a clear vision of where they're going, so they're always working towards something. For some other people, they might not set into that realization until later. I think the problem is, and you've said it about the limitations, and with regards to what you've said with stuff holding you back.
Yeah.
It is just, there are always going to be hurdles that you need to jump over. Yeah. But the entrance barrier to making a change in your life has never been easier. You don't have to go to university for everything you want to do. You don't have to go to these long, expensive courses. Yeah. There is, whatever your passion is that you want to pursue, there's going to be a way to get into it for relatively low cost, as long as you kind of plan out the steps that you're going to take to do it. Yeah. So start researching how I can take steps on the internet. The amount of times you see those articles like 101 ways to make money from home. So you might have a long-term goal, but you need to set up a side hustle to get you the money behind you to do that. Are you gonna have to interrupt some of your commitments? Yes, but you might have family, but you can't tell me that you're not going to have any time to yourself, that you can't work on stuff. I think it's one of those, are you going to make the decision? And then are you going to take action? But a reason for not taking action shouldn't be, well, I've missed the boat. No, but I would argue that at no point in time if you missed the boat, it's just you've been sitting on your backside for too long, and now you need to give yourself that kick to say, I want to change my life, I want to go, I need to make a decision now. Mm-hmm. And again, we're talking about it kind of when we're going into New Year. People might use the New Year to do that. It might be part of their new me, like, or whatever they want to do. And as we said, if you've got a plan, outline a plan of how you're going to make that in life. But I just think too many people buy into the idea, well, I've missed the boat, and you've got so much time left. But as I say, it's an interesting balance, because for me, I think you have to create a sense of urgency in your mind. So when you wake up every day, you know the importance of making sure that you're effective and you're productive in your 24 hours, in your 7-day week. You're getting the most out of it in your month, in your 12 months of a year. But at the same time, knowing you're playing a long game and that you've still got a mix of time. So it needs to be that careful balance, because I don't want it to come across as, well, you can start whenever. Well, that's all right, I'll start in 10 years.
So it's built on Ben's saying, is that when you build into a long game, you have to understand that you have to have two principles. You have to be disciplined. Yes, the discipline means that you have to realise that you might have to wake up a little bit earlier, and you have to stick to it. So if you want to go on a diet, like we said before in the previous videos, you have to stick to your diet and be disciplined. Also, you have to have consistency, which means that every morning, it's not like you wake up one morning and think that I'm going to be proactive. But you have to build that consistency. So you're doing it every week, you're doing it every day. So you're building it into your lifestyle. So when you're thinking on your long-term plan, you're being disciplined and consistent all the way through, and that's what helps you get to your end game.
Like my mum, she's 56, she's a biggish lady, she's got arthritis in her hip, bad knee, and she's never been to the gym. But over the last, I'll probably say 5 months now, probably the last 5 months, she's going to the gym, she's eating better, and she's losing weight. And something happened inside of her that she said, now's the time. She's 56, you know what I'm saying? So she's old and she's got loads of things holding her back. She's got family, she's working, and she's fitting it in all around her time. She's going to gym like 3-4 times a week. And she's sort of inspiring me.
But even there, at 56, again, God willing, nothing happens to any of us. Still time. Still plenty of time. Like, we look at it. Imagine when you were younger, right? To get from being born to 20. How long that was.
For real.
And then, so for me, I've got between now and 50, I've got that left. I've still got that to go. Even 10 years, when I look back on 10 years, and yes, time flies. Like when you're 18, I remember I was watching one talk before, and they were like, when you're young, time goes slow, and then all of a sudden you're 18, and before you know it, you're 21, and then before you know it, you're 25. And time does go quickly. And I think that's why it's almost even more essential for you to say, actually, do you know what? Yes, it's not too late, and I'm not going to wait any longer. I'm going to get started, because otherwise, before you know it, this past year, I was sitting there and talking to someone, and they said, I can't believe it's Christmas already. It seems like we were only just doing that. But you get into the way that your life is built and the habits you get into when you're older, it just becomes a bit more routine, and the time seems to fly by a whole lot quicker. So I think there's the emphasis has to be on, yes, there's still time. Yes, it's not too late. but you still need to take action right now. Have that sense of urgency and say, right, I'm not having this anymore. I don't want to wake up 12 months from now, even though I've still got time, and say I regret the fact that I didn't get started 12 months ago or 2 years ago. Because I always look at, okay, you can carry on where you are now, or you can take action 24 months from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. You've moved ahead. Yeah. But you don't want to get that 5 years down the line and say, geez, imagine where I could have been if I'd started back then.
Yeah. That's the worst thing in life, regret. You don't want that.
You don't want that, not at all.
Well, that's when you speak to older people, when you're around older people, and if they're talking back on things that they regret in their life, it's not, I regret the time I did that and failed. Like some people will say, they'll bring up stories of when they've had failures in the past or they've encountered challenges, but they might say, well, I wish I hadn't made that decision. But they rarely say, I regret that I even pursued it in the first place. Yeah. What they usually say is, I regret that I didn't make more. Things like I didn't make more time for my family when I was young. I regret the fact that I wanted to do this and I saw a friend doing it, but I wasn't really willing to take the risk. And now he's wildly successful. He's got like the nice home, the nice settled down family. And I'm cool. I've existed for the last kind of 30, 40 years, but I'm not feeling I've lived as a fulfilled life as I could have. And again, that just comes down to, look, the time to take action is right now, and again, it doesn't make any difference whether you're 18 and you're straight up and you've just got that drive and passion to say, yeah, I'm doing this now, or you're 21, or you're 30, or you're 35, 40, 50. At any given moment in time, you can wake up, either this morning, you can wake up tomorrow, and just say, do you know what, enough is enough.
Yeah, and just
I'm making a change.
You need to change your mindset. Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, I think again, for me, I think the takeaway from this should be, wherever you're sitting and thinking you are right now, and the new year is a good time to kick it in, because it's a good time to outline your plan, not your resolution, remember, your whole year plan for the new year next to me, and just say, do you know what, this year I am actually going to make it, I'm going to take steps. 5 years from now, I'm going to be in a place where I want to be, not 5 years from now, I'm going to be in a place of regret, because, like I said, to me, my view is, it doesn't make any difference if I fail for the next 10 years, and I have to start again at 40. I'll still start again. I won't wallow in self-pity and say, nah, it's too late. Missed the boat. I'm missing the boat. I'll chase down the boat, swim past it, and drag it along.
You know, that's why some people, they get depressed when they reach 30. Yeah. It's like 30 is the limit or something. I'm just like...
We'll bring up another issue about entitlement and millennials and all that, but they have an expectation. They have an expectation of entitlement. So when they get to the 30, they haven't reached there.
But it's like 30 is the barrier, life stops at 30.
No, but I think that's when reality sets in, and we'll cover it in, and we'll post a link to the other video we're going to discuss it in, but I think that is where people have this expectation that I could want everything in my life and I expect to be in that position by 30. I don't know why, because 30 seems to be now where people define themselves as,
that's what I mean,
as opposed to before when it was like 25.
It's a watershed now, and it's what we see at the watershed, so we'll talk about another video.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I've got, because I see people have their anxiety, they have like a midlife crisis. It's like a pre-midlife crisis. I'm like, you're 30. Like, fortunately, I haven't seen it happen to me. Maybe it's going to happen at some point. But yeah, it's an interesting topic. We'll discuss it in more detail in another live session.
Alright then.
Alright, well, until next time, as we always say, life's only as good as your mindset. So if you need to change it today. Doesn't make a difference where you're starting from, what age you're starting from. It's never too late to get going.
Change it now.